Hey, welcome to another episode of Real Talk Live, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and all the latest entertainment news. I'm your host, Krypton Case, and I'm joined here by my co host, the Viking, and a special guest, Rokan.
Hello.
How are you guys?
How you doing, Rokan?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's Sunday. It's a nice chill day. I just finished the Lucifer series finale. My eyes are still recovering from the tears, but I'm good.
Yeah, loads of people love Lucifer. Lucifer. Can you tell us a little bit about that show? And was it cancelled and Netflix picked it up, or what happened with that?
Yeah, so basically the show's like based off of the DC comics, which I've actually never read the Lucifer DC comics. I mean, I know of Lucifer Morningstar because he shows up in a few Hellblazer stories and stuff like that. But basically, the whole idea is that Lucifer decides to leave his job ruling hell to go to LA for a vacation because he's just tired of being the king of hell for a millennium. And as he's in LA, one of his friends on Earth gets shot, and he ends up working with the police. And ultimately, it's kind of a police procedural type of show with Lucifer, and he's working with this detective, and they have this kind of like sexual tension going on. It's a great show. All the while, there's like little threats of like the end of the world and his siblings coming to Earth to try to kind of like force him to go back down to ruling hell and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a show that was on Fox actually. I remember it used to be on Mondays, like right after Gotham, you would have Lucifer, and mainly due to the fact that for season 3, Fox moved it to Fridays, and it got like low viewership, even though it was high on like DVR and stuff like that. But Fox canceled it, and because of like a fan campaign on Twitter, Netflix picked it back up, and so they gave Lucifer an extra 3 more seasons. So that's kind of what it was.
That's awesome. Because I was gonna start watching it, but on Netflix here, they didn't put down the first 3 or 4 seasons. They only put out the ones that they made with Lucifer, like the ones they produced. So I couldn't start from season 1. I had to start on season 5 or whatever season Netflix picked it up for. So I never watched the show because I want to watch from season 1. But
Yeah.
here, if I click Lucifer, it's only season 5 and the seasons that they produce.
Do you think
So
it's
it's
kind of
annoying.
like a rights issue type of thing? Because I mean,
Probably.
like right here, like you go on Netflix and it has from seasons 1 through 6, but I don't know if in the UK mainly like how shows on Fox differ on the UK right there if they go to certain streaming, or I don't know, but it's weird.
Yeah, because The Walking Dead, like Fox here, it's not the same as the channel that airs in America, but it is the same company.
Mhm.
And like Walking Dead is on Fox here, but now that was picked up by Disney Plus because Disney own Fox now. So I don't know what way it's working. I don't know where I can find the first 4 seasons of Lucifer. But yeah, it's a bit annoying. So hopefully, eventually, they put seasons 1 on it because I'd love to binge it. But yeah, I've heard great things about it, and it's good that the fan base has kind of without the fan base, Netflix wouldn't have picked it up because they want to bring more subscriptions to the service. So that's awesome. That you got a conclusion, you guys. You don't have to think what if.
Exactly. Because I mean, for a long time after season 3, when it canceled, like we were kind of going like, okay, what would have the ending would have been? And the creators would have said, well, if we had the chance to continue, we would have done this and that. And eventually, they did do what they set out to do on Netflix. So it got a proper conclusion, and it was. I mean, I'll just give you kind of my quick thoughts on the finale without any spoilers for anybody who's watching hasn't watched Lucifer yet, but it ended in a very fitting, great way. Like they actually they pulled it off. Is what I'm trying to say, and I couldn't be happier.
That's good. That is good as a fan of the show.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
that's great. I've been
I
hearing.
guess I guess to me, it's like what Superman and Lois is, or Titans is to you guys. You know what I mean?
Uh,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
explains it.
I guess, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
So
that's
without
good.
further ado, let's jump on to today's topics. We have, very few topics today. We only have some certain reviews and a certain trailer for a small movie came out, which we will be discussing um, at the end of the show. So let's jump right into it. So the first topic of today is Kate movie. Well, so okay, so let's start with with the early screening. I got the early screening on like 2 or 3 days before the release, which was on 10th. So I think I watched it on 7th or 8th or something. And yeah, uh, I didn't know what to expect from this movie, but I liked the trailer and I thought it looked pretty good. And then I was pretty excited to watch the movie. And it's a Netflix movie. We know that the Netflix movie track record isn't the best, but yeah, I didn't have high expectations. But then I started watching the movie, right? And as I started it, it looked pretty good. The visuals were cool, and the setting was good. The action was pretty amazing in the beginning, even. And as the movie went on, I just thought that it probably isn't going to be good. And because the way the plot goes on, you know what's going to happen, and you know the plot twist or the reveal that's coming on. You know it, like everybody know probably guessed it, because it's kind of too obvious. Um, Sometimes I just feel like if the movies are doing certain big reveals in the end, with some characters, I feel like they should have some subplot going on, or some extra characters that you can, actually divert the audience's expectations to something else when you want to reveal the plot twist. But when there's only a few characters in the movie and you're not going to mention the one remaining character, you kind of predict who the reveal is going to be, right? So that's kind of what happens here. But apart from that, I would say that it's a solid movie. I pretty much enjoyed the action very much. Mary Elizabeth is awesome in this, and the action is pretty well choreographed. Everything looks really good because it's set in Tokyo and they actually filmed there. So everything is practical, and the lights, the color grading, the way the shots are framed and everything. I thought it was very well done, and it takes inspirations and has homages to old noir movies and anime and neo noir and all that stuff. So yeah, I pretty much enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend watching this movie. I know some people didn't like it because maybe the reveal spoiled the movie for them, but it didn't take away from the movie because I knew that that was coming, but it wasn't like the whole movie was based on that one reveal. So I did enjoy everything that was going on. The movie also has the same tropes as some of the other assassin movies, like John Wick or Gunpowder Milkshake, or other movies like this. But again, that didn't take away the enjoyment for me, as there are some pretty unique stuff as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. What did you guys think of it?
I haven't seen the movie yet,
Oh,
but the color. Yeah, I told you
right, right,
I've been
right.
busy. I've had no time. I only got to watch Maleficent. Not Maleficent, is it? How do you pronounce it?
Malignant.
I'm thinking of the one with Angelina Malignant. Thinking of the one Angelina Jolie.
Of course
No,
you are.
uh, yeah, but no, I haven't had time to watch some of the new releases this week. But I actually haven't seen any trailers for this movie. But the color template from the images I've seen and the poster, it seems like Gunpowder Milkshake, the same kind of purple kind of type of look to it. Is it similar that way in terms of the like just the color of the movie, or does it do its own thing?
Not really. It's not similar. It just has more color, neon colors in it because of the setting it's in. It's set in Tokyo, and it's shot in practical locations. So the lighting in those streets is what you see. So it's not really the look of the film per se, but the location it's in. If that makes sense.
Uh,
So,
and of course, the biggest star in this movie is Woody Harrelson.
mhm.
Is he just used as like a market employee? Like, is he just a big actor with a small part, or is he in a majority of this movie?
He plays a pretty big role. And he's not a cameo. Um, I don't know if this is a real, but he is related in some ways to the main character. It's very similar to John Wick and Gunpowder Milkshake in that way, and um, so yeah, that's all I can say.
Yeah, Rokan.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't either? Okay.
No, I mean, I actually like signed on to get the screening email to watch it, and I'm pacing around my computer, just waiting and waiting, waiting to get the email. And I never got it. So
All right.
what the yeah. So what the hell, Netflix? So yeah. Honestly, all I watched over the weekend was just Lucifer, and that was it. So I this is gonna be a very short talk about Kate.
Did you see the trailer and did you like were you excited, or did it just look like any other John Wick style movie?
Oh yeah, I mean, I thought the trailer looked pretty dope actually. I mean, I like kind of like the cinematography of it, and I like kind of the I love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. I think she's amazing, and Woody Harrelson's is awesome. And I watched the trailer and I was kind of like, oh, it was kind of like John Wick meets Crank, kind of,
Yeah,
So
that's exactly
like
it.
yeah, so I mean, I was super kind of like intrigued by it, and so I do hope now that I'm away from the gates of hell that I can actually go in and check out Kate. So, but yeah, I do. But in short, I do want to watch Kate. Though.
Awesome.
The director of this movie has only done one other movie,
Yeah.
which was The Huntsman, Winter's War, which doesn't give me much faith.
Yeah.
But like that was like 2016, so he hasn't worked since then. I know there's been the pandemic, everything's been delayed, but like still, he hasn't been involved in too many projects. So
Yep.
hopefully this can be one to kickstart him in a different direction, maybe with Netflix. But yeah, I've seen the reviews and stuff. Just kind of they've been all right. They've
Yeah.
been mixed. They've been haven't seen any outstanding kind of talk about
Yeah.
this film and the style of it.
Yeah, and it's not like it's some very great, magnificent movie that you have to see and all that. But um, it's a pretty cool movie that you can watch, and I would definitely love to see the second part, and I would love to see the franchise keep going because, like I said, Mary Elizabeth is pretty good in this role, and I would like to see more of that. And after this movie, I saw one edit a while ago. Chris Wong made it, and he just made a Ripley poster with her in it, and with the background as the aliens and all that. So I was pretty intrigued by that. But after seeing this movie, I'm all in on that because she definitely gives a lot of Ripley vibes in this movie. A lot. And even in the Q&A that was shown after the early screening, she was asked that question, and she was like, yeah, she's been very, she's grown up on those movies and she likes that character, so she definitely appreciates that comparison. So yeah, I definitely see that in this movie. She does look like her a lot, and yeah, I would love to see this keep going, man.
Yeah, Netflix for me need to improve their movies. I mean, like consistency in their movies. Like their
Yes.
shows are really good, really well put together, but their movies are very hit and miss. Like the Jason Momoa one that I watched a few weeks ago, Sweet Girl, I think it was called. I forget at this stage. That was forgettable. There's lots of movies like that.
Yeah.
I thought with a big star like Jason Momoa, this would be a really well put together movie, and it kind of wasn't. So, of course, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead was really good this year, really well put together.
The
You got
old guard
Leonardo
was good.
DiCaprio, Meryl Streep, Old Guard. I thought Extraction was actually
Yeah,
really well put
Extraction was
together.
also really good.
Mhm.
I enjoy, I think it depends which directors over these
Yeah.
types of projects. With Zack Snyder, he's going to get full control, do his thing. The Russo brothers, Meryl Streep movie that's coming out later this year with Leonardo DiCaprio, with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
That could be huge potential.
Don't Look Up.
Then last year, Don't Look Up. Then last year, though, Midnight Sky with
Yeah. That
George
one was
Clooney. He
good.
directed that one.
Mhm.
That was good. My problems with that weren't the production or anything like that. It was just from a creative standpoint.
Yeah.
I thought maybe they should have concentrated more on George Clooney's character than the other side characters. But that was just a creative decision. So I think with the bigger stars, they're getting more control and the movies are better. It's just these smaller type of projects that aren't as good, maybe, or not as much work put into them. I don't know what goes on, but the show sides of things are just brilliant. The series, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's like
agree.
for every Army of the Dead or Irishman, you get a He's All That, for instance, or you get.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad.
You're never gonna top the original with Freddie and Rachel Lee Cook. I am sorry.
Well, there's also other streaming services that put out movies like that. Look at Cinderella.
Don't remind
you don't
me.
want to. Don't want to look at it. But then you have Amazon, who kind of purchased these movies from other studios, and they're pretty like they were for theaters, and they buy them and take all the credit, and they do well, like Coming to America. They're all making
Tomorrow
money.
War.
Yeah, well, there's
So,
another
yeah.
Amazon movie that I saw, but we'll talk about that next week. Yeah. All right, so yeah, that was our review of Kate. You can check that movie out right now. It's on Netflix. I think it's a pretty good watch. Don't expect too much. Just enjoy the action and the story. It's fine. The action is pretty solid though. Like she just takes on a bunch of guys, and it looks very realistic. So it's pretty good. Anyway, moving on to the next movie, which is Malignant. This is a James Wan horror movie or thriller movie. I'm not sure. I think it is horror.
Comedy.
Comedy also. Well, okay, let's preface this first with the early screening reactions that we got, early test screening reactions. Okay, so I think 1 year ago or 8 months ago, somewhere around that, we heard that the next James Wan movie is being test screened, and the audience actually were laughing at the movie, and not in a good way. And people just, because it was also unfinished and there was no VFX done or anything like that. So I was always confused at that movie getting received that way, because it's a James Wan film and he hasn't missed so far, and I like all his movies, especially with the horror ones. I think that they are one of the best of all time, like Saw and The Conjuring. There are amazing franchises, and so I was surprised with that. um I even love Aquaman, the first movie, even though that's not horror or it's not very serious and all that. I still loved it because, he created something spectacular there and it was pure fantasy and all that. But with that reaction, I was very surprised to hear that. So, fast forward to the first trailer dropping. The trailer was pretty interesting. It got my attention. I didn't know what was going on, what sort of a horror movie this is, and I didn't exactly, um, you know, nail it down if it was relating to ghosts, spirits, demons, or was it just a psychological thriller, right? So because of that, my expectations were not very high, and I didn't know what to expect from the movie. And okay, so yesterday I started watching the movie, right? And from the beginning, it was like the guy actor, the boyfriend that was playing that actor was terrible, and he was like, he just didn't feel like he wanted to be there, and the actor was terrible, and the scene kept going, and the movie kept going, and I was just like, is this actually a very bad movie, or is this being on purpose like this? And I was just waiting for something to happen. The pacing was very slow, and it did set up something interesting about the main character of the movie. But apart from that, everything else felt like it was making a fun of other movies. It was like a parody or something, and in some scenes it felt so overly done that I kind of laughed. and after after half of the movie passed, they started getting into this entity that is the antagonist of the movie, and that got me intrigued, and the reveals with that were pretty interesting. And when the actual reveal happened, in the third act, that switched the movie over for me, because I really really liked that, and I really enjoyed the movie after that. And after seeing what happens there, I can understand why an unfinished version of this movie could be the funniest thing ever, because of certain things, the way the movements are with the character and stuff. It would look very, very stupid and funny without the, finished version of it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you checking it out. I know some people are really hating it and all of that, but I thought it was a pretty good watch. I felt the kills and all that were pretty interesting. It was very gory, and obviously the camera movement was amazing, as James Wan is a master of that. So yeah, I did enjoy it by the end, although I would say that I laughed a couple of times because of how certain things were really over the top, or just came off as funny, like a parody movie or something. And certain characters were just not participating in this movie at all, and that was also funny. Like there's a detective guy, he's just really not involved in what's going on, and is trying to hit on this character's sister. I was like, what's going on? And yeah, stuff like that is very funny to me. I don't know why it's in the movie like this. But yeah, apart from that, the horror and thriller elements are pretty well done. And for that alone, I would say that this is a good watch. And yeah, that was my experience with it.
Yeah, the like the directing is brilliant. The camera skills from James Wan are always amazing. The acting of the dialogue in this film is just painfully bad at times, and I don't know
Yep.
if it was on purpose or not because it's so bad. I'm like, this lead actress can't act. I'm like, she, it's like she was. I shouldn't say that. I'm
She
not an
she
actress.
was
I'm not an
in
actor.
Annabelle
I'm not.
1, if you remember.
But
Yeah, she was the wife of
And
yeah.
the
like
Tom
in
Cruise mummy too.
Oh, yeah.
oh, was she?
Yeah.
But like maybe it's the dialogue she was given. She's probably not a bad actress, but maybe
Yeah.
it's just the dialogue she was given. Like this was my Twitter reaction. Now I watched the movie today, and like I like putting out a first reaction on Twitter, and I kind of put my thoughts into this. I said, Malignant is a bold move from James Wan. I think a lot of people won't like the pacing and the camp feel to it, but for me, it works. It's weird as F, and the third act gets even weirder. Loads of action, blood, and gore. As always, Wan's camera skills are on show. You won't believe the twist. That was like my positive reaction. And, like the dialogue, the acting just wasn't the best at times. It really, really wasn't. But I can understand why some people might laugh at this movie because the character, the scary kind of monster in this movie is a character called Gabriel, who is an imaginary friend of the lead character, and they come back. And I from the trailers, like I think this movie was mismarketed in a way because from the trailers you would think that this is a supernatural
Yeah.
horror film from the director of The Conjuring, James Wan, but it's not that at all. Really, in the trailers they could have revealed a little bit more of the plot. I think without spoiling the overall twist. And I would have added a little bit more to it because I think it was mismarketed big time, this movie. And yeah, I really thought it was. But look, with a horror movie, the best parts that need to put you in the edge of your seat are the blood, the gore, the scary moments. I think they did that pretty well. But I can understand why people are laughing at the character because I don't want to say too much, but the character, the way they move and stuff. It is kind of funny when it's revealed and that kind of stuff. But for me, the character, like in a lot of these monster movies, you don't really get to see the vulnerable side to them. Like Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. Like you don't ever get to see them do things like run. You know what I mean? Like there's a chase sequence where there's a person chasing the monster, and I'm like,
That's
you never see
hilarious.
this. Yeah, you never see this, and it looks so real. And the monster doesn't seem as scary anymore because they're running for their life. So like I found that very, very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that it was an interesting watch and a very bold move from James Wan. I think he could have went for an easier option and did something like The Conjuring, this supernatural monster and scary moments inside of a house. But I think he tried something different,
It's
and
something unique.
yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, and he even opened it up. There could be a sequel to this. There
Yeah.
could be a universe for this if you really wanted to. I don't think it's making the money. It had a budget of 40 million, and that's a lot more than I expected because I just looked up the budget and I was like, 40 million, and like, where's the money going here? It's definitely not the actors because none of them are household names. So yeah, I don't think it will get a sequel, but I do think that this film will find audiences as time goes by. I think it could be a cult classic. One of those horror movies that lives on some way. Maybe gets a sequel in a streaming service. But yeah, I think it's a good film. I just think it's very weird and a lot of people won't like it.
Yeah, I did see a lot of positive reviews, though after the release, I did see a lot of people saying that it's one of the best horror movies they've watched and all that, and I just uh can't bring myself to that level. But I did think that the second half of the movie turned it from me disliking the movie to understanding. Okay, fine, this is your choice, and this is the concept of your movie, and I get it now. But yeah, it still wasn't that exciting to me, and I still don't know what the genre of the movie is. Like, is it a horror movie, is it a thriller movie, is it a slasher movie? Because it has all of them in it. Crime movie. Yeah.
Crime movie.
Rokan, what did you think of
Um,
it?
I haven't seen Malignant yet.
Oh, you haven't.
I haven't. I was planning to watch it sometime this weekend after Lucifer, so I'll probably get to it after we finish this tonight. Same thing with Reminiscence. I want to watch that too. But I can say, I saw the trailer for Malignant. I remember it was like during the previews for Old. It was my first time seeing the trailer to it. And, I thought it was a straight up supernatural movie. I was kind of like, all right, James Wan hit home runs on Insidious and on Conjuring. So I'm like, okay, he's going to do like another supernatural movie. And then, I hear that, okay, it's not really that. It's like a serial killer type of movie. At least this is what, people I've known told me, and you guys told me. So I was like, oh, wow, I would not have gotten that vibe at all. But I mean, then again, James Wan's very first movie was a serial killer movie with the first Saw. So it is kind of like in his element.
Yes.
In that sense. So I do want to check it out because I do love James Wan's movies with the first Saw and Aquaman, obviously, and Conjuring and stuff like that. And the only miss I could say that he's ever done would be Dead Silence. I don't know.
I haven't
Did
seen
you guys
that.
ever see Dead Silence? Not good. Even Juan and Lee Winnell hate that movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I do want to check it out though. As for Sean mentions the lead actress Alba Walsh. I just want to say for the record, she's pretty good in Tag. She's very funny in
yeah.
Tag. So
yeah.
So I do think it's kind of a case of just kind of like the material she has to kind of like work with. But she's a fairly she's a solid actress.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was the dialogue, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And the dialogue that were given was even the her sister in the movie, the cop was hitting on her. Even the sister's dialogue was not good at all. So I just think it was a dialogue problem as well. But she looks like Alison Brie a lot. Did you guys?
I didn't.
I was like,
I didn't recognize her in this movie at first. She looks so different.
Yeah, I was like, this this isn't Alison Brie. It looks so like Alison Brie, and it's not obviously, but I just think maybe the haircut.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe, yeah, because she's blonde usually. But
Exactly.
yeah, I do want to check it out. I do kind of feel bad that it's kind of getting some scathing reviews because of the fact that James Wan's like talked about this is like his passion project, because he talked about how he and his wife wrote the story and everything like that, and how he wanted to kind of like find his footing in doing something smaller before he went back to Aquaman. So I do kind of feel bad in some sense that some critics are kind of like piling on it,
Yeah.
but but at the same time, I mean, like, other people are really digging it. Like you guys said, it could be kind of a cult classic, because that's how it was. I remember when I saw like The Ruins. I remember like when I saw that movie The Ruins in theaters, I was like, this is a pretty shitty movie. And yet I talk to people who kind of are like, oh, it's my it's one of my Halloween films. So
Nice.
who knows?
But I don't think this is
Yeah,
necessarily a shitty movie. I just think that it comes off, it takes you out a lot of the times because of the funny things that
Right.
that are on screen. It's like, when it feels like in certain scenes the music is somber, and the intensity of the scene around you, the atmosphere is not that high, but the actors are really overacting, you know? So that jumps out to you like, what is wrong with you? Like that. So stuff like that is kind of funny. But also, I just saw the Rotten Tomatoes reviews for it. As of right now, the critics are 74% liking it. Like 74% of the critics, out of, 76 reviews, like this movie. And the audience score is 50%. So they are really divided. But critics
I
seem to
really
like
love
it. Maybe
the.
it's because of James Wan.
I really want to get the poster on my wall.
Yeah, the
It's so
poster is
cool,
awesome.
and
It's a cool poster.
I don't know. I don't know if you have it up on the screen, Casey, but it's the one where she kind of half her face is at the bottom of the poster,
Hmm.
and then like the malignant kind of the eye in it is
Yeah,
just kind of going down like that. That's just cool. That's really really cool. So
yeah,
I want to get a poster like that. But yeah, the meta score is only on 50% as well. So that's all the critic scores put together that they take from. But yeah, I just think yeah, I enjoyed the film. I did. I know it sounds like maybe I didn't, but I did
yeah,
enjoy the film. It's just it's very weird at times, and but I will say the third act is amazing,
yeah,
so good, brilliant, well put together. So yeah, I think that James Wan made a really good movie, and I just don't think it's for everybody. It's one of those movies that a lot of general audiences won't get,
yeah.
but I definitely think it will find its audience. And I got to watch Candyman last week, and the third act in that movie, even though I really love Candyman, really good film, third act was rushed in that movie. Here, I don't think the third act was rushed at all. It was actually well put together,
Yeah.
and there's actually some downtime to understand what actually is happening, and that makes up for a better ending to this movie than maybe Candyman was. Even though I think Candyman's a miles better movie, I really love that movie. But here, the third act is set up really nicely, and like Casey, the first act, the middle, and the third act, they're like three different movies.
Exactly. I was, because the third act happens, like it's something so out of what the first and second acts were. Like you wouldn't expect that at all. You can kind of guess
Yeah,
um what the imaginary friend is. You can kind of expect that, but how it is and how it's presented, you can never imagine that. It's something so out of
yeah,
the blue. You never see it.
yeah. And it's set up perfectly because there's two characters and they come across some piece of footage and they're watching this footage, but it's also in sync with something that's happening in another location.
Hmm.
And then when we get to find out what the twist is of the movie, it cuts to that scene of that happening. There's not to spoil it, but what I'm talking about, Casey,
Yeah.
where the two characters are watching footage, and then there's a scene somewhere else, and it shows, oh my god, this is what this is. That was done really well. That was done perfectly, and it sets up the third act.
Yep.
Really, really does. Unlike, say, Candyman, when I watched it, you were in the story so much. The next minute, it kind of jumped two beats. And next minute, well, that's a bit out of the blue. And next minute, oh, we only have 5 minutes left. But here, it's set up really nicely, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, And I liked the ending. I thought the ending was, it wasn't like, oh my god, or it wasn't give me more. I thought it was a pretty good ending.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. That's for sure.
Cool. All right, so that's our review for Malignant. I don't know if I should recommend this because some people might hate us for it if we do. But yeah, I had a good time. Go in with caution if you want to see it. It's going to be some controversial, reveal. You might like it, you might not like it. You might think it's stupid and very out of the blue in this movie, but I did like it. That reveal actually saved the movie for me. So yeah.
Yeah, don't watch the movie and eat your dinner at the same time. It's not gonna go down too well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Duly
very
noted, man.
disgusting and gory at sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, so let's jump on to the next topic, which is Marvel's What If. And okay, so I will just give a quick review. I thought this looked pretty good. I thought the concept is interesting. Marvel zombies. I thought the designs were pretty good. But I didn't like it. The story was just stupid, and again, What If is just, I think this was one of my most anticipated series, and it is turning out to be one of the worst things I've seen from the MCU. Because out of 5 episodes, I only liked 2, which is episode 2 and episode 4, which was the fourth one was the best by miles. And here you have some interesting things like the pictures you see on the screen here. There are some pretty good character moments, but just didn't fully commit, and the story wasn't long enough. The ending just felt like, it just ended in the middle. There was no proper, story structure to the entire episode, and I just felt like it was another meh episode from them. So yeah, I know that Sean really loved it because he's into zombies and all that. So let's hear what you have to think.
I'll let Rokan go first. I went second.
Okay.
Last time. Rokan, you can give your review.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
Saving the best for last.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Casey. I did not like this episode at all. I felt like What If has been just kind of like, aside from the Captain Carter and the Doctor Strange episodes, which I think were incredible, the other episodes they just have not impressed me at all. And the thing with the Marvel Zombies episode, like when I saw like the ads for it and stuff like that way back last year, I was super hyped for it because I was just kind of going, all right, Marvel Zombies, this is how, this is a cool concept for What If. The designs look cool. I'm like, this is gonna be great. And the problem with that is, first off, is mainly just the fact that, oh my God, there was so much comedy thrown into this episode. And I know it's MCU and it's the style, and I get it, but they really throw so much of it to the point that you'd be surprised how annoyed and bored you can get hearing people just crack jokes one after the other. Like the minute, like I didn't mind it from Spider-Man so much because that's Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and it's kind of how he is. But I remember there's that moment where trying to remember her name is Sharon. Where Sharon,
Sharon Carter. Oh my God.
Yeah, Sharon Carter. Yeah. She and Happy are like being surrounded by the zombies, and Happy is using like one of Tony Stark's like arc reactors, and he's saying blam 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 as he's killing these zombies, which are like, all right, fine. He gets bitten by these zombies, and so Sharon has to kill him, and as she kills him, she goes blam. Like I was kind of going like, was that supposed to be funny, or was that or were you supposed to like feel sad? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like Scott Lang comes in, and literally all he does is just trade nothing but quips back and forth to the point that you don't really feel the stakes in this episode. You don't feel the drama of what's going on at all. And you can do zombie comedy fine. I mean, I love Shaun of the Dead and I love the Zombieland films. I mean, you can do it like that, but They went so overboard to the point that I'm just kind of going like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I agree. The ending just felt like it just ended. There was no feeling of like resolution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say one quick thing. I know I'm going a little too crazy in this, but one last thing I just want to say is that why did it take now for us to hear a reference to Uncle Ben? Just saying. But
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I got. I gotta say. Just wasted potential.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Sean,
Well,
yeah.
save this review
This-
for us.
Yeah, you're about to rip me a new one, Sean, and I'm prepared for that.
This was the best fucking what if episode of the series. So, I really like zombies. Everyone knows that.
Mm-hmm.
To see zombies now be in the comic book movie genre is like a dream. That's just so cool. It's awesome. I'm glad that they had adapted the zombie Marvel comic book. Ever since the trailer, we got to see the Captain America zombie. I've just been gushing over that image since the trailer was released. Could not wait to see this episode. I think, is there another what if episode with zombies coming up as well? I thought maybe somebody said there was, maybe there wasn't. But you definitely could do more after this ending. I really like the ending as well. But look, I just thought it was different. It was new. We've never seen anything like this before. And was it perfect? No. But I think we should applaud them doing something absolutely unique that we've never seen before. Now, will this ever happen in live action? Probably not. I would love to see it. Why not? Go for it. But I really felt I felt like how they didn't rely on the likes of Captain America, Iron Man, the original Avengers. I like this makeshift Avengers team of Spider-Man, of a Ant-Man with just his head, the Doctor Strange's cloak, Sharon Carter. I really like this team because it's a bunch of like misfits that you would not think would be together as the team to save the world. And I liked how some of them died one by one. You're like, who could die next year? Because honestly, any of the characters could die. I like the kind of nod to Dawn of the Dead where I forget the characters' names, but his wife is pregnant and she gets bitten and he doesn't want to kill her. He wants to let her have birth. In Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's one, where he's off in the mall somewhere and his wife is tied to the bed and she's a zombie. I like that kind of tone with Vision and Wanda. Wanda gets bitten, she's a zombie, she's powerful. Vision is trying to contain her, but he's also feeding her because she's a zombie, and that's the love of his life and stuff like that. I thought that was awesome. Really like that. Hulk, I thought this is one of the best interpretations of the MCU Hulk, Bruce Banner, that we've seen. Because I do not like the Hulk we've seen in Endgame, but I really liked it in this episode. I would have liked to see more of Hulk out as Hulk fighting. There wasn't enough of that. Because I was getting a little bit annoyed because at the start they started doing the thing again where Hulk won't come outside of Banner. I'm like, why are they doing this? It's so stupid. I was like, that kind of drives me mad. But I'm glad that Hulk did end up coming out, but he wasn't out for enough. It should have been a longer fight sequence because that would have been cool, only for a few seconds. I don't know if that's because of the Universal deal or what's going on, but they really need to sort their shit out with Hulk because for me they're ruining the character, and I don't really like what they're doing. I thought Spider-Man was awesome, even though it wasn't Tom Holland doing the voice. I liked the kind of heartfelt moments, referencing his parents and May, Uncle Ben. It was a surprise to hear Uncle Ben's name, but still pretty cool. And it just kind of shows me that this is an alternate timeline in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's not really canon, per se. But yeah, I just thought I liked the tone of this. I liked the feel of it. I thought Paul Rudd's comedy and this was brilliant. You have Paul Rudd. You have to use his comedic timing and his jokes. I thought he nailed them. I laughed out loud several times to his jokes and this, and him just as a head was just brilliant. It was just very funny. I just thought it was brilliant. And then the ending, of course, spoilers. Thanos is a zombie and he has the Infinity Gauntlet. Like that's pretty cool. Where does he go next? Like what happens next? I'd love to see that.
But there's
and then Iron Man's a
that's
zombie.
just the concept they're
Captain
presenting.
America's a zombie. What do you mean?
Like, it's just one frame and there's nothing to it.
Well, yeah, it's Thanos.
Yeah, but
he has
so what?
The Infinity Gauntlet, and he's a zombie.
So what?
And he's a zombie.
So what?
What do you mean? What do you mean so what?
Like I didn't think that was necessary for the story. I didn't think it added anything. It didn't, affect the story at all. Just fan moment for like, oh look, we have a Thanos zombie design. That's it. And maybe because
Well,
I'm
yeah,
not a
well,
hardcore
how,
zombie fan and all that, I didn't. For me, the story comes first. I don't think that
yeah, but
just
none of
showing that
these.
would be enough.
Was Thanos still kind of like an intelligent zombie, or is he just kind of like an idiot zombie? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, he has the Infinity Gauntlet, but like none of these what if episodes lead to anything. Like the ending of Doctor Strange, the last one, he killed his entire universe. Where's the stakes there? Do we
But
care for
that's the
this universe? Do we
conclusion.
care that all the characters?
That's the
Yeah, but
conclusion of
it's
that
only what the
story.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah,
none
The
in
idea,
this.
the idea that
insane.
the idea that Strange just can't outrun fate.
Yeah, and he destroyed the entire
What the
universe. That was the end of that story.
yeah, but what did Peggy Carter do next, like for the world? Like
I didn't
there's
like that
more. There's
episode as
always
well.
more story.
That's why I didn't like
Like
it.
there's always more story. There's never a concrete ending
I
really.
thought,
I did appreciate that ending because that did have an ending and there was stakes there. But it's just cool to see Thanos as a zombie. That's all you really want. And if they make a part 2 to this in season 2, we could get a continuation of this story. Like if you said to me at the end
I'm
of
not gonna watch season
I
2
don't
now. It's just I'm never going to watch season
like
2.
you could say that about and you could say that about any movie that didn't get a sequel. Like look at the Power Rangers movie at the end. Like Tommy Oliver is it? He's referenced and like Tommy Oliver. We never get to see the continuation. It was just a cool Easter egg, but they had plans for a
Yeah,
sequel.
but there was a
Just
full
depends.
story as well. This episode
Yeah,
just didn't have a story. Just they showed some concepts. They had one fight, and also the
but they
giant
showed
giant wasp thing. Like, okay, so they have this entire field of zombies, and it's a big challenge to go from here to there. What do? Just one big wasp, and they just walk right, to that side. It's so simple. There's no stakes. That was like,
there was stakes. Characters died left, right, and center.
come
Iron
on.
Man was a zombie. The Avengers were all zombies. There was stakes. Any character could have died at any moment, and we only had 3 characters survived. And one of the best lines in the MCU probably ever was from Chadwick Boseman about his line about death, like especially now, during he's not with us anymore, was
Yeah.
heartbreaking. I really loved that.
Yeah, that line was
Like
cool.
that, like Chadwick Boseman
Yeah.
was brilliant. This
That
just perfect, man.
surprised me because I thought the last thing Chadwick Boseman did was the second episode. What if I didn't know that he did more episodes.
Yeah, I think he has one more.
Really?
Oh wow.
Oh, yeah,
Nice.
but he was so perfect for T'Challa. He was every time he speaks,
Mhm.
you kind of you go into your screen a little bit close. You just want to listen to what he has to say. Yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was badass. It was awesome. To see zombies in the comic book genre, movie genre, TV genre. It's just something that I've never seen before and might never see again.
Hopefully. I mean, look, I would definitely love to see a live action version of this with a proper movie and a proper story, but this episode just didn't do it for me. Everything was, oh look, there's a zombie in a Captain America costume. And Bucky just defeats him in 2 seconds. Like, I just didn't like
Well,
it.
they're zombies.
Yeah,
They're
but
like
we have
they're an
evolved past the, easy kill zombies. It's just not, scary anymore.
Well, they weren't really easy kills since a lot of the Avengers died and loads of people died. Like there's only a few survivors left, so it wasn't that easy.
I don't know. I just didn't like it.
I'd be up for seeing this in a movie capacity if they make it terrifying.
Yes. That I would love to see. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, Sean liked it more than us, clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think a lot of people liked it. I thought the social media buzz was pretty good for this.
Yeah, maybe it's
And,
just me not being a zombie fan. I just need, every time there's a zombie movie, I'm not interested at all. I just need the story to be strong so that I can, enjoy the zombies in it. And if it's just zombies and they're just coming around and people are killing them, that's just not interesting to me. Sorry.
Like, these what if episodes are characters that we already have an image of in our head because of the Marvel Cinematic
Right.
Universe. Like
The
like a
animation
Peggy
was pretty
Carter,
good though.
like a yeah, the animation is
Yeah.
brilliant, but like I'm saying, like we have a preconceived image of what these characters should look like, how they should act, and what their past experiences are, just because of the movies. So then we're given a what if episode that's only 25 minutes, 30 minutes long, and we're supposed to adapt to this new interpretation of the character, this new world they're put into, this new story, and then care for them. I think it's a lot to do, and that's very hard to make every single episode really, really good because T'Challa, I know him from Black Panther. I don't know him as his Star Lord origin story. Like, why am I supposed to care about him now in this capacity when I've watched movies of him and I love him in that world? So I think it's already an uphill battle with some of these episodes, but I'm enjoying them for what they are. I'm not taking them too seriously.
All right. Hopefully the next episodes I like them because so far it's just 2 out of 5, and I don't think the Doctor Strange episode can be topped. It was really amazing, and it had a full story. It had a beginning and an end. It had complications. It has serious tones, and there were real stakes and all that. And everything was awesome in that. So I just hope that we get some sort of episodes like that one because that was top tier.
Hmm. Agreed.
All right, so moving on to the Matrix, the trailer that came out. All right, so we have done a reaction to the trailer. When the trailer came out, you can go check that out on our channel. But right now, we can discuss the trailer as a whole and theories that we have for the movie. So Sean, you want to go first?
Yeah, I thought the trailer is probably, I have to be careful what I say here. I think it's the best theatrical movie with the best trailer this year. I think the best trailer was actually Justice League #1 with the Joker ending. That trailer was just badass. But for me, The Matrix is the best trailer we've had this year for a movie that's getting a theatrical release. I know it's on HBO Max as well, but I think it's better than the Dune trailer. And of course, the next Spider-Man trailer that has Toby and Andrew will probably top it. But for now, Matrix Resurrection has the best trailer. And the reason why is they didn't just play a song in this trailer just for the sake of a song. The song had deeper meaning for what the film is about. The Alice in Wonderland stuff like that,
Yeah.
and like the words of the song matched up with the visuals of the trailer, which is probably very hard to do, but it worked brilliantly. And I thought some of the visuals was just fantastic. Some of the clips they used, the line delivery, Neil Patrick Harris's character, like, he's talking about like Keanu Reeves is like, "Am I crazy?" We don't use that word here. Neo and Trinity, have we met? Morpheus, so cool, so badass. And then like to see the blue pills popping up so much, and Keanu Reeves's character of Neo being trapped into a simulation, maybe, or maybe the movies were a dream, and now he's realizing this. Who knows at this stage? And then the movie playing in the background, younger versions of different characters, different agents in this one. Who's the villain? What's going on? I thought it was a brilliant trailer. I really, really loved it, and I watched it again earlier on, and I'm just really hyped for this one. I've said that this movie will can be the, or I probably said will, but it can be the best film of 2021 because of the Wachowski. Certainly one of them, Lana Wachowski. But if they can recapture half of what they were captured in the first one, 1999, then we're in for an absolute ride right here. And I think with today's technology, with the society, with video games, with movies. This movie could be so, it could hold a mirror up to our society and how we act right now more than anything. And one shot in this trailer kind of showed that was the Neo one where he's in the elevator, I think, and he's looking around and everybody's on their phones or iPads or listening to music, and he's just standing there disconnected from this world that he's in. He's not plugged into this world, and he's probably realizing like there's more out there. I'm thinking of these things in my head. Like, why am I thinking about this? This is probably why he's with a psychiatrist. This is probably why he's on the blue pills, because he's thinking of the previous three movies, and he's thinking, I lived that life. What's going on here and all this? But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one big time. Can't wait for it to release. I can't wait not to understand it the first time I watch it. That's what I'm looking forward to. I can't wait to go on YouTube, look at Matrix Explain, the ending explain, stuff like that, because this movie will be deep, it will be meta. I'm sure the action would be amazing, but will the story be amazing? That's going to be hard to say because Wachowski's previous movies haven't been the best, but I have faith in this one big time.
Yeah, and also one of the things that you mentioned is meta, right? And a lot of people who have seen the screenings and all, they said that this feels very meta, and some people will like it, and some people will be taken out of it, right? So as we see in the trailer, they are actually playing the first movie, and that is part of this world now. Like, was they will they tell him that he was the actor who was in those movies, and now that also exists in real
But
life in that world?
you
It's
want me to explain it?
I know what the
Oh,
thing is with the plot, but I'm not sure if we should say that because that's kind of
well,
spoilers and all.
well, well. I will say what's out in the universe right now. So in the year 2000, a comic was created called Get It. It was a Matrix comic book. We've had Matrix video games, Matrix Online, an anime, Matrix. There's been comic books that have gone in deep to the mythology of the Matrix and how it was created and stuff like that. But there was a small comic called Get It. So this comic takes place inside the simulation. These group of friends go and watch the first Matrix in theaters. They leave the Matrix movie. There's people outside. Oh, that was awesome. That was pretty cool. You have these group of friends, and they're all saying, "Oh, that was an awesome movie." And then there's one friend who's like, "I don't get it." And they're like, "What do you mean you don't get it?" So they try and explain the movie to their friend, and he's like, "I still don't understand it." What they were talking through a telephone, and they went through the telephone. Like, how does that work? And they tried to explain it more and more. And they eventually go back to a pub, and they're having a few beers, and they're trying to explain like this is what this meant. And he's like, "Sorry guys, I just don't get it." So he says, "Like, I'm going to call it a night," and he gets up and leaves. So he leaves the pub, and as he leaves the pub, everybody's watching him. They're all watching the guy leave, and slowly they all turn into agents. So all of his friends were agents. All the people who were in the bar were agents. It was all a setup because they wanted to see. They put the Matrix out in this simulation, and if some people might look at it and say, "Oh, that's just a cool movie," but some people might think, "Wow, it's just trying to tell us something." Because there was many people in 1999 watched the Matrix and were like, "Are we living in a simulation?"
Yeah,
So what the agents are doing in the simulation is putting the movie out there. You watch it, and then if I question my reality, then they kill me.
yeah,
But if I don't and just think of it as a movie, I can live in the simulation all day long. That's why they do it. So I wonder if that's being put into this movie as canon. If they're going to do something like that, where the Matrix is a video game, the Matrix is a movie inside the simulation, and then Neo, Keanu Reeves' character, is thinking, "Oh, maybe I'm just having these dreams because I played the game or I've watched the movie."
mhm,
I think that's very cool if that's the case.
yeah. Rokan?
That's not spoilers. That's a comic book out there. So.
Well, my first reaction to it was simply, "Whoa!"
The classic.
But exactly. But yeah, so look, I mean, the first Matrix is literally one of my favorite movies ever. I grew up. It's actually one of the first few movies I actually own on every home media format that came out. VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K Blu-ray, and also on iTunes.
So
So
you got
it's
the
it's a
so
movie
you
that
got all the colors.
pretty much I can now compare and contrast between every release. It's sad. Uh, but yeah, I mean, so the first Matrix is a movie that's meant a lot to me, and I have fond memories for. I mean, Reloaded was actually the first R-rated movie I ever saw in theaters, actually. So it holds that spot in my heart. And Animatrix I love so much, and the video games too. So it's a franchise that's meant a lot to me. So when I saw the trailer, I'm with Sean on that. It's probably my favorite trailer of a movie that's getting a theatrical release this year. I was like, wow, we're really back. We're back in the Matrix. So it brought back that feeling I had when I saw the Reload and Revolutions trailers for the first time. in theaters. So I got that feeling back. I like the use of White Rabbit. It's
Yeah.
a great kind of use for it. I do wish they used the Emiliano Torrini version because that one's more kind of like has more kind of like orchestral and more rock oriented. The one that's in Sucker Punch. That's just me. But I think I like it. I like the use of that, and I also like the new additions to the franchise, especially Yahya Abdul Mateen II as the new Morpheus. Which, if you can't get Lawrence Fishburne, then your best bet to get someone who's worthy of that is the Candyman himself. So I love that, and also Jessica Henwick. I'm a huge fan of her.
She's
so great. Exactly, and she's got, I love the hair too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cool to see her in it, and I mean, I've got kind of like 1,000,001 questions regarding kind of like the story and kind of like what's going on, because I've not looked into any spoilers or anything like that. I have not looked at any plot details because I just want to go in I want to go in as fresh as I possibly can. But I do like the idea of the Matrix going a little Truman Showy.
Yeah.
I think that would actually be a really kind of cool way, because the one thing Keanu and Yahya have all said when they spoke with Lana about the movie, the one thing they've often said about the film is how ambitious it is. Which, I mean, the Matrix films have always been ambitious, but that lining up with the fact that it could be this meta Truman Show type of film, I'm like, pretty ballsy for a Matrix movie. So I don't know. We'll definitely see. I'm surprised though in the trailer we didn't get any bullet time moments, because I mean, like the bullet time is synonymous with the Matrix, and we didn't get any moments of kind of like of like Jessica Henwick stopping mid in the air to kick somebody, or Keanu dodging a bullet or anything like that. So
right.
It's kind of surprised we didn't get any kind of like moments of that. And also, it also isn't shot like the other three Matrix films.
Yeah.
Too. It has a
very different
feel to it, a different color palette. So, which, I mean, that surprised me. I had to actually look up and see that they didn't get the same cinematographer as the three Matrix films. They actually got the same cinematographer who did Legends of the Fall, and he also worked with the Wachowskis on Cloud Atlas. So it does have that kind of like look to it too. But I'm so amped to see this. It is kind of unfair though that this and Spider-Man are out in the same week.
Right. I think one of them is definitely going to be moving. Definitely.
Spider-Man probably.
Yeah. But also, like, for the Morpheus, I think this is just one of my theories. I haven't read, the plot leaks or anything like that. I think this Morpheus being very young and, inside the simulation, I think he's just part of the simulation. Like, he's just a program, inside the Matrix. Or he could just be a hired actor who they want as the new Morpheus for the Matrix. If you want to go, with the meta aspect of it. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on with him. So that might explain why Lawrence Fishburne isn't, Morpheus right now. But again, we only have Neo and Trinity. Those two are definitely the same actors. And also we have a Trinity type character with Jessica Henwick, and maybe those two are also actors in the old Matrix movies. And I don't know what's going on with the meta thing, but it's very fascinating, like you said. And it's very Truman Show, and I love it.
I think as well, we've only seen the first hour of the movie. Somebody said that. This is only the first hour from the trailer. So we've got a lot we haven't seen. There's a lot of machine stuff we haven't seen, of course, in those in the real world. With Neo and Trinity probably are in those chambers or in those pods. So there's a lot of that stuff that we haven't seen that will probably play a bigger part. I'm not convinced that Morpheus is all good. I don't know, there's just something about him in the trailer. But then I was watching the original Matrix as well, and Lawrence Fishburne's portrayal is very off at times as well. I'm like, can I really trust this guy? He's just the way he is. So maybe it's just that.
Yeah.
But some of the visuals are just amazing. I love the part where like just walking down the street and all the kind of green barcodes kind of come, and the messages like that's cool. And then the helicopter kind of shoots a missile and he diverts it into another helicopter. It's
Yeah,
just awesome.
new
So
powers,
like I think
upgrades.
yeah, I think in this simulation he is they try and give him the most perfect of life. He looks like he's living in a very expensive house. He is going to a psychiatrist because he's getting these visions or these dreams. They're giving him the blue pills to, stop him from understanding his true potential because they probably just can't kill him because his subconscious mind is just so powerful. You just can't kill Neo, or maybe they have a bigger plan for him. So that's probably why they're keeping him alive. But he probably has a very interesting job as well. And the guy he's talking to, who looks like he's from Mindhunter, I think. I don't know the actor's name.
Yeah, he's in Hamilton as well.
He's a brilliant actor. He's brilliant. So it's awesome to see him come in. His line delivery is coming back to where it all
He's
started.
definitely playing an agent, right?
Stuff like that. Like, that was awesome, and it was cool. And so, yeah, I wonder what Keanu Reeves' role is in this simulation. But he's not happy. His character is depressed. He's not happy. But then his reflection in the mirrors and stuff, he's an old man.
Mm-hmm.
He's an older gentleman. So, but then you have Morpheus is younger. You have a few other characters who seem to be younger versions of the original characters from the movies. So, like, why are they younger but he's older? And it's a lot of questions. And
I think Neo and Trinity are the only old ones, and the rest of them are new because they're rehired to do this. They cast different actors.
It looks like and even in that scene where Morpheus kind of he goes sideways through a door and then he's running down this hallway.
Very Inception-like.
He's got two glasses on, two sunglasses on. Got the circle kind of ones and then just normal.
That's why I said that he might be playing Morpheus inside the movie.
Yeah, that's interesting. But like what was I gonna say? It's like they're resetting the timeline, or it's a loop. They're replaying those moments from the first movie. So
right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for this because we potentially could be witnessing one of the greatest movies of all time, or a really bad movie.
I do think that is going to be amazing because just this stuff that we've known so far interests me a lot, that I can't see myself disliking the movie as a whole. I might dislike some parts or some decisions, but overall, this stuff in the trailer and the stuff that we heard so far is already very interesting to me, and I'm sold on it. So I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that at least I can walk out of it and I can say, okay, it was better than Reload and Revolutions. I mean, I'll say this time around, though, the thing that does give me more confidence in that department is the fact that Lana brought in a few of the writers from Sense8 to co-write the script. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, have you guys watched Sense8, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Great show. Amazing. That actually got me back on the Wachowskis' good graces because I was unsure about them after seeing Jupiter Ascending. But I saw Sense8 and I was like, wow, it's amazing. So if the fact that she got back that team to kind of help her out on Resurrections gives me more confidence that I can like this more than the second and third Matrix films.
Right.
And also I heard that this is also keeping the R rating that was in the 3 Matrix films. So I was like, oh, thank God.
That's going to be interesting. But also, I would want this movie to be a big success because, look, this is one of the Matrix is one of the franchises that I am very shocked that they didn't make like 6 or 7 movies out of it, because the first one is so powerful and it sets up everything. And then there are 2 other movies, and that came out the same year in 2003. And from that time till now, there's literally nothing from the Matrix, right, in the movies. And I was like, it's very similar to Alien, the first movie, and that movie has like so many other movies, and there's the soft reboot and all that. So I'm glad that this is back, and this is kind of like a soft reboot, setting up the the modern Matrix and all that. So I just hope that they make a trilogy at least, with the same cast and everything. So maybe the next one will be called The Last One. I'm just kidding. This should have been
Yeah,
called The
Matrix
Matrix Awakens.
I was gonna say the Matrix shut down or something like that.
Yeah, I would love to see that, man. I just want these movies to keep going because the concept itself is so amazing. Not a lot of people do simulation theory in the movies, so I'd love to see that.
like you will have people watching this movie questioning your own reality.
Hmm.
What is my life? What is the world that I live in? Which is it's very interesting to go to a theater or sit down and watch the movie and have those thoughts after. And I think that's just amazing. That's just gets so thought provoking. And the Wachowskis, I don't care what anyone says about Reloaded or Revolutions or Jupiter's Ascending. These guys, girls, they transitioned. They created probably one of the greatest films, mind-blowing films, most impactful films in movie history. If there's a Hall of Fame for movies or anything like that, The Matrix is there. The Matrix is one of those things.
Our
So I
favorite
will never,
director got inspired by that movie, and a lot of the Matrixisms have become Snyderisms in his movies
yeah,
that we love.
It's true, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And I will never bet against the Wachowskis doing anything. If the Wachowskis have a new movie coming out, I would say, well, their last previous ones haven't been that good, but I'm not going to say this one's going to be terrible.
Yeah,
Just like people online, a lot of the newer generation of film fans are saying that Avatar 2 will be terrible,
yeah.
it won't
I
have an
mean,
impact.
no,
James Cameron has done it every single decade.
yeah,
Every single decade, he has had the highest grossing movie of all time, or action movie, or sequel, stuff like that. Terminator 2 looks like it came out today. It's just fantastic. Avatar was a breathtaking display of just filmmaking and the highest grossing movie of all time. And people still doubt him when he has 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 Avatar movies on the way. No, I'm never
the only
doubting
thing
genius
releasing
like
from
that.
Avatar sequels are the release dates.
Yeah, that's all. But to say that Avatar 2 or The Matrix Resurrections or Tarantino's next movie or Snyder's next movies are going to be terrible before you've even seen them when they've created absolute perfections like Pulp Fiction, like The Matrix, like Man of Steel, go home. I'm not listening to that bullshit because
Yeah,
those guys are geniuses. Never bet against genius.
yeah, and also like the first Matrix movie is very revolutionary for cinema itself, and a lot of the slow motion, the way the action is, um, the long CGI fights, and all of that is still done in a lot of cinema, like not just Hollywood, in other movies as well, like Indian movies and all other movies as well. Like I see that all the
Don't be-
time.
Yeah, and don't forget it also started the trend of having, your lead characters wear nothing but black leather.
Yeah.
It was like that, and then it was like Blade, and then Underworld and Equilibrium, and then the X-Men movies and Batman movies took that.
I saw the first Matrix movie just a couple of days ago before the trailer, and it still holds up, man. Like the wire work, the
Absolutely.
CGI, the style, the fashion inside the movie as well. Like it still holds up, and it's very surprising. It's very surprising. They were onto something.
Absolutely.
I will say that they have an uphill battle because when they first came on the scene in 1999, the action sequences were never before seen.
Right.
With Trinity's like jumping off shot. Nowadays, we've pretty much seen everything
Right.
when it comes to action, special effects. So the Wachowskis could have something, or Lana Wachowski could have something pretty cool in this movie, but you could go and say, that was awesome, but I've kind of seen that before.
Yeah.
I've seen that in a different movie. I wonder and I hope that they're bringing something that we have never, ever seen before and are making an impact again on the way filmmaking is done. That's what I hope is happening. I know that's a big feat because there's been so much cinema since then, so much action, but I hope that they thought up something new, whether it's visual effects,
Yeah.
whether it's action, whether it's storytelling. For me, they have to bring something new or it won't have the same impact as the first one had.
Yeah, and I also was expecting that before seeing the trailer. I thought that for them to be picking this up picking this back up and having an idea to do it and having the will to do it, because where has that been for all these years? But finally being able to do this, I thought that they probably have something revolutionary again, that something we've never seen before. But after seeing the trailer, I'm not sure if that's going to be in it, because, like you said, after that came out, as of right now, there have been Marvel movies, Zack Snyder movies, Robert Rodriguez, Sin City. There's so much stuff that's already been done. I'm not quite sure what more can be done, right? So I'm kind of not expecting that to be in this, but I would definitely love that. But as of right now, I'm lowering my expectations for that, because there really is nothing else that you can do that gradually different from what's being done now. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see that's for sure. I mean, I'd like to still go back into a theater to see a Matrix film and still say, holy fucking shit, I've never seen that
Yeah.
before. But yeah, I mean, I feel like if I can still walk out of Matrix Resurrections happy and still feeling like
Mind
that was
blown.
that was mind blown, or that was
Yeah.
a proper way to to continue the story, then I'm completely fine with that. Because
Yeah, me
I
too.
mean, that's kind of like my big concern is that, like, there's for many years, Lily and Lon would be interviewed about whether or not they would ever revisit the Matrix in some capacity, and they've always put their foot down, and they both said, no. They'd be like, we've always designed these films as a trilogy, and it's going to stay that way. And so I hope that this feels natural to the other three films. I hope this doesn't feel like a cash grab or anything like that.
Yeah, I hope so too. And one more thing that was very signature style of the Matrix, the first trilogy, is the music, and whenever the action scenes played. So I'm wondering what kind of music will they incorporate this time around. And obviously there's going to be Neo and Trinity fighting a bunch of agents and all that stuff in this movie as well. So I'm very curious what style of music they're going to go by, because techno music doesn't really play, that much this, in the modern day. So I'm curious as to what they'll incorporate.
Well, Don Davis, who scored the three Matrix films, and he also scored Animatrix and the Enter the Matrix video game, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
Tom Tykwer, who scored Cloud Atlas, is doing it. So it could have that type of music to it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited
I
for
think
it.
they've upgraded everything.
Yeah.
And
Upgrades.
we haven't seen the movie. Yeah, we haven't seen the movie yet, but we can already see from the trailer that this will be modernized.
Yeah.
Instead of the phone booth, there is like a magical door. There's none of those phones around anymore, hardly ever. The ones you see on the street, you go up and use. Like in the original one, that was a big thing because that was what was in society at that time. Now it's kind of, those don't exist. So it's going to be a different way to go into the Matrix, or to, stuff like that. So I think the music will be all updated. I think that's why the film just looks different. I just think, it just looks different. Like I don't remember the 90s or the early 2000s, but the look of those films now, watching those films, feels like that time. You kind of get me? And then now watching this trailer kind of feels like this time. Everything's fresher, everything's newer, new technology, stuff like that. So that's my kind of interpretation. And I think people on their smartphones around Neo in the elevator is a good sign of that. So I definitely think it will be modernized big time.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll
Sean,
get it more into that.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, Sean, you're lucky to have missed the '90s. Frosted Tips, Dial Up, and Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching the Matrix the other night, and as the guy that comes to Neo's door to start, like that's a pretty cool outfit, that guy. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I have the confidence to wear that.
I also love that they kept some of the things the same as the first movie, like the way the agents move and dodge bullets. And there's that hallway scene again, where Trinity and Morpheus are running, and the agents are shooting from behind, and you can see the bullet trail going towards the screen, but you can't really see the ripples that form around that. So I'm not sure if they'll keep that, but the way the agent transforms, from the the regular human, you can see that the animation is pretty much the same, and the dodging bullet animation is also the same. So I just love that. It would have been really weird if they just transitioned from the regular face into the agent face with just a fade out or a morph or something. I love that they move and the animation style is the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see this and definitely going to be seeing the theater. I hope theaters are open by then, and I just hope this movie doesn't get pushed. All right, so with that,
Well, they had a release date on it, so hopefully Spider-Man didn't. So
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
All right, so with that, we have concluded our show today. Those are all the topics. So thank you everyone for joining in. Thank you for the awesome conversation again, Rokan. We love having you here. We love talking to you about all the Marvel, DC,
Thank
and
you.
all other stuff. I love that you also hated the What If episode. Just kidding.
you guys are fucked if a zombie apocalypse happens.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, but why are you looking that way? Yeah.
I'm not carrying around Casey's head.
In a jar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. You can find us at the Real Talk Live on all social media. You can find me at Krypton Caged. Where can they find you, Sean?
Yes. Movies that matter. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
And Rokan.
Roku 9413 on Vero and Twitter, and That Real Roku on Instagram.
Awesome. All right then. Until next time. Take care and goodbye.